Hey, happy Thursday, everybody. It's Chamber Check In time, and welcome to another episode from Idaho's only five-star accredited chamber. And today we get to meet and learn from newly appointed president and CEO for the United Way, Mr. Tim Jackson. Hi, Tim.
Hi, Paul. Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It looks beautiful from your background there. That's not a virtual background, right?
No,
That's the
it's
real deal.
not. This is live. I've got the foothills behind me and the New York Canal right below me, so we call it riverfront property, but it's nice.
That's the positive mental attitude you bring, right?
That's right.
Well,
That's half
Tim,
full.
congratulations on your new appointment with United Way. We've enjoyed having Nora, help lead the United Way for so many years and done some great things. And these check-ins, Tim, as you know, are great ways of helping share our members' stories, their products and services, but most importantly, the people. And so, as a relatively new resident to the Boise area, and you've been a CEO and president of United Way in Utah before, but now you're here in our valley. So I'm really excited to help share that. So why don't we start out with that, Tim? Tell us a little bit about your background and what led you to the United Way.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. It's exciting to join an organization where there's no cleanup. The organization is well established and has a strong footing in the community and is doing great things. And I get to step in and work to try and build on that. And so, we've been around since 1928, and the leadership that Nora has provided over the last decade has been, instrumental in helping the organization continue to evolve to meet the needs of the community. So I'm humbled to be in this role, to be here, and it is really exciting for me to be in the Treasure Valley. I know there's a lot of new people here, and I'm one of them, but I also know that there's deep roots for many people here, and they value a lot of what the community has long offered. And I'm also, although the first time resident of Idaho, an eighth generation Idahoan, because my parents were the first ones to move out. And now many of my generation have moved back. And so I've spent a lot of time here throughout my life. And actually, it was an impetus. Part of the impetus was coming closer to family, because I've got four young kids, and my wife and I just wanted to be closer to grandma and grandpa and aunts and uncles. And I didn't think I was going to leave Utah, because I loved the work I was doing with United Way. And it took me a while to find United Way. I have been with United Way for a decade in Utah, as you mentioned, 5 years as CEO, but I studied international affairs in college, and I really wanted to do international business. After college, I volunteered for a year in Quito, Ecuador, working with a lot of refugees from Colombia, and just met the most amazing kids and families that had no opportunity, just amazing people with no opportunity. And I didn't really realize growing up in a middle-class household how lucky I was. And that was just a transformative experience for me that changed my whole trajectory. Instead of kind of looking out for number one and wanting to go into international business, I really started to focus on how I could make the world a better place, and a lot of that focused on education. So I spent 5 years in Latin America before returning to Utah through kind of a sequence of events that included a motorcycle accident where I almost lost my foot because it got infected, and some political turmoil in the part of Mexico that I was in brought me back to Utah. But I continued to work in the nonprofit sector. I worked with a lot of immigrant populations, using my Spanish fluency, and felt like I was having an impact on individual kids and families' lives, but just recognized the challenges were bigger than what we were able to take on with some of the work. And so that's when I got more interested in kind of community level 30,000 foot work, which is what United Ways do in so many communities across the country. And so started by leading some education initiatives in northern Utah with United Way. So,
Wow, what a great story. And, we all discover passions in our lives that, hopefully we can put those passions to work in our careers. And I can see that it has aligned well with you and your passion. So thanks for sharing that piece there with me and the listeners today. Tim, you had mentioned that United Way was kind of founded in the early 1900s. Help share a little bit more about that origin story, if you will, kind of how United Way got started, and do you know where it started, um, and how many United Ways there are across the country,
Yeah.
maybe globally. Help me understand.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think normally when this is given, it's like an old joke that the first United Way was formed in Denver in the late 1880s by a priest, a rabbi, um, and a woman, and I forget there were anyway. It was a an eclectic group of people in the community coming together to saying, how we can we combine our efforts, and quickly they started to take hold in communities across the country as community chests, often sponsored by chambers of commerce. So I'm actually, as we approach our 100th year anniversary, I'm really interested in digging even deeper into the history and some of the foundational beginnings and who were the different parties that were involved. But we began in 1928 as the Association of Federated Social Service Agencies. So it basically was nonprofit organizations in the community coming together, recognizing that everybody's trying to raise money to support those in need, and we could do a lot better if we consolidated that in a
Right.
united effort as a community chest or a united way to raise money and redistribute it. And so United Ways have played that role largely as, again, a community chest, raising resources and then redistributing them using a lot of community volunteers based on the needs for, over a century and close to that here. But United Ways have really evolved a lot in the last decade as the world has just changed to how they can best bring value to the community and playing more of a role than just a pass through, um, and actually helping to coordinate some of the efforts around how we can forge partnerships to achieve things, because individual organizations can't overcome many of the community challenges we have today. It really takes coordinated collaborative efforts, and so that's work that we've really leaned into in the last decade.
For those that have worked with corporations here in the Treasure Valley, have always had the opportunity to give to United Way, and it's through your weekly or monthly or biweekly paycheck. You can donate, a few dollars every time, and you don't think about it much. It's pretty easy, right? Instead of trying to put together $1,000 a quarter or whatever, and those funds go towards what, Tim? Help me share some of the services that United Way of Treasure Valley provides.
Right. Yeah. So I think a starting point to respond to your question is that every United Way is independently run organization that's governed by its board of directors. And so we have a local board, and we make decisions on the ground. We do have a national group. We're part of 1,400 United Ways across the country that provides us with some support, and some guidance and some branding and things like that. But we really are a local organization, and we are quite adaptable to the needs of our community. And so it evolves with time based on the needs, but the most significant way that those dollars have gone back out into the community is through grants to our community partners. And so we're just in the process of putting out $800,000 in grants to 37 different organizations.
Wow.
And that's done through, a pretty collaborative partner. We have vision councils made up of community members that get very familiar with the organizations and the work that they're doing, and then they oversee that allocations process. And so also in that process of making a gift, individuals always have the opportunity to donate directly to the organization of their choice. And so if there's something you're connected to and you're passionate about, United Way can serve as the medium through your employer for you to do that, where it's just a little bit coming out at a time. Or you can entrust, people can entrust those resources to United Way as the steward. And we do things like that grant process to make sure those dollars go where there's going to be a great return on investment, really well-run organizations, community partners. But we've also leaned in, like I mentioned, the need to bring people together around some of our biggest community challenges. And so for a number of years, probably also close to a decade, we've led a community school initiative working to support school districts throughout the region and actually even the state with our other United Way partners to ensure that schools are a place where kids don't just go to learn, but it takes a village, right? And so helping to bring more resources into those schools so that there's expanded learning opportunities, summer programs, parent engagement opportunities, community resources that can be tapped into. And so we provide a lot of support for our school districts, funding staff and technical assistance to help. I think we've got 36 community schools right now.
Wow.
And then another initiative that we're working on, that we're kind of leading out on, is findhelpidaho.org. And it's in collaboration with the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare's 211, as well as the Idaho Health Data Exchange. And basically what we want is to make it very easy for Idahoans in need to find the best resource for them, whether that's a private resource or a public resource or a community or a local church, whatever it would be, that it's easy for them to navigate towards that. And so creating a more sophisticated online interface for people to be able to navigate, as well as for referrals between organizations, a project that's really exciting that will have a profound impact on a lot of people that those dollars go to help support. So those are a few of the things that we're involved in.
I was reviewing the website this morning, and there's three things that I saw that were really impactful. So 13,100 students supported. And I saw 45,489 individuals supported through United Way's healthy habits, preventative medical, dental, and mental health support services. And then 4,200 individuals served by improving access to affordable permanent housing and increased financial literacy, which, those are things that every community struggles with. And so I'm glad that there's an organization that's helping from the 30,000 foot view.
Yeah, I appreciate you mentioning that, Paul. And the thing that comes to mind, so we do have kind of three focus areas that encompass most community issues, and those are education, financial stability, and health, largely focused on helping people live healthy lifestyles. And, we're at a point in time where the culture wars are strong, as far as people that are on both sides of the aisles arguing on so many different issues. But it's in our name, United Way. We know that, like, at the most local level, if we're focused on our kids, right, that they are in enriching learning environments so that they're successful in school and have great opportunities beyond that, that we're trying to help ensure that children, individuals, families all have what they need to sustain themselves, so that they have safe housing that they can attain, and a job that helps them put food on the table and make ends meet. And then ensuring that, our kids are healthy, right? That their mental health is good, that their physical health, which obviously, what you eat and how much exercise you get feeds into that. Those are all things that, like, the community can rally around. Like, it doesn't matter what your kind of political persuasion is to support those things. And that's another exciting space to be in, with how much division there can be, that this is really a place where we see that we can bring people together, because we want to bring those numbers up that you just said. The Valley is growing fast. And so I think that although we're proud of what we can do, we certainly have a growth mindset and think if we bring more people to the table and get them involved, that we can do more together.
Well, and we're only as good as our team, right, Tim? And
That's
you know
right.
this better than anybody, but you've got such a great team as well with United Way, that have been with the organization for many years. And so they all have important roles to play. Is there anything you want to add about your team?
I just second what you say. I mean, I was so fortunate to inherit such a great team that has the knowledge, skills, and abilities to be successful in this work. And so, we've kept the same team moving forward. There's been very little, change, and looking to grow the team as we work to increase our impact. like you said, I mean, it is your people, right, ultimately that drives your work. And so I'm also, I guess I would say, just to build on that, is the board of directors that we have, both our executive committee and the board. They're such a strong leaders in the community that are really vested in the work and really engaged. And so, working closely with my leadership team and the executive committee to then create alignment within the entire staff and the full board, then puts us as an organization in a position to have the same message as we're working to live out our mission, right? Which our mission is to mobilize the carrying power of the community to support, education, financial stability, and health. And so all of us being on the same page, working together, gives us a way to really bring more people into the fold so that we can ensure that everyone has an opportunity to succeed in our community.
Thank you for sharing that, because it's just so important that we put our people first. And I love what United Way has done to connect and engage your team as well to the broader community. Hope we talked about enough stuff here. How can businesses and individuals help make that impact? Let's just cover that before I got a really fun video to show, and then we'll go on from there.
Yeah, that's great. So we do have a big event coming up on August 3rd, the State of the Treasure Valley, which I know maybe you were going to ask me about. And so that's for people to go to our website if they're interested in registering. But we're going to be coming around the community, having a lot of conversations. We've just released a new data set on ALICE, which means asset limited, income constrained, but employed. It's basically a much larger number than those that we consider living in poverty, of people that are working Idahoans that are having trouble making ends meet, and how do we support them in thriving. And so our call to action, as we prepare for that key event, and as we get ready to come out to the community, is to get our different stakeholders more involved, right? That everybody has a role in this. I mentioned before, it takes a village, right, to support a child. And so that's the private sector, the nonprofit sector, and the public sector. And how can we collaborate and further align our efforts? And Nate Jorgensen is going to speak at the State of the Treasure Valley. He's the CEO of Boise Cascade, and share how they as a company are so involved and some of the different ways. But some of the ways are, giving your employees an opportunity to volunteer, whether they get a certain number of hours that they can do as a volunteer, or if there's team projects that people do where they get out into the community and are exposed, is great. Providing in-kind donations, depending on the type of organization you are. If there's a way that, based on your business, you can provide some support to the community through, what it is that you produce, or the service you have, is another great way. Just having a well-developed social responsibility plan, right, as a company. Your CSR and like how this is embedded into your culture, I think, is important. It's something that employees look for as well, right? It can be also a win-win for employers when, employees know they're coming to a company that's giving back, getting involved in the community by serving on a board, employee fundraising campaigns, giving employees a chance to contribute through their paycheck, is an easy way. And then the financial support of a lot of our corporate institutions, right? Whether it's marketing dollars or matching funds for contributions from their employees. There really are a lot of different ways. And we're really focused on, I mentioned we're funding 37 community partners, right? We want to build up those organizations and help them to thrive. And so as we think about a deeper engagement with our business partners, it's with that end in mind. As we think about these engagement opportunities. So,
wow, that's a great description of how the community can help and participate. I was talking to Brittany Rosenthal the other day, and I was saying, "Hey, are we getting the pancake feast back?" That was a big community day.
Yeah.
Right down the last block, and I know COVID kind of put the kibosh on that. Tell me if the pancake feast is going to happen again.
Yeah, no, our plan is to have it again, but not until 2024. And the main reason really is because like that is such a great community. I haven't actually experienced it, but I've seen the videos and heard a lot.
Oh.
Such a great, just like bringing together of the community and the sense of we're in it together. But what it's hard to do in that setting is to really message very much because of the environment. And given me being new in my role, as we're kind of charting the course for the future of our organization and working for this call to action for more people to get involved, we felt that having this event at the Stuckel Center this summer was where we should put our energy. But we do anticipate bringing it back in 2024. We've been hearing that from the community. So
I bet you have. Okay, so State of the Treasure Valley, August 5th?
It's August 3rd. Yep.
August 3rd.
It's 4 p.m. at the Stuckel Center. And we do have registration open right now on our website.
Okay, so look at that website. All right, I would love to share this short 3-minute video if you don't mind, Tim.
Yeah.
It encompasses everything that we have, and then we'll close out. So
yeah, I think that's great, Paul. I think the video, it's a few years old, and so some of this is their iterations that we're working on. We've got a newer video in production, but I think the key thing is this just helps people to see some of the types of work that we're involved in. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah, you bet. Here, I'm going to get this thing queued up.
We all know the Treasure Valley is a great place to live, but life is complicated right now. In fact, United Way knows that more than 40% of people living right here are struggling to make ends meet each month. We all know friends, family, and neighbors who could use services and resources to help them now. What you may not know is that United Way is our community problem solver, working together, funding and supporting the programs and services that can help.
The gifts that are given to the Treasure Valley United Way Community Fund have a direct and immediate impact on people. Because of all of the work that the Treasure Valley United Way does to understand the areas of greatest need in our community, as well as the partners who are having the greatest impact, any donor to the Treasure Valley United Way Community Fund can know and be confident that their dollars, their contribution will go to directly impact our friends and neighbors who live here in the areas where they have the greatest needs.
United Way is our area's most far-reaching helper for families and children, and you can be United Way's helper. With your support, United Way will continue to make opportunities happen so that local children and families can receive the services they need right now.
I give to our Treasure Valley Community Fund because I see those dollars in action. You know, whatever I donate or whatever Simplot donates, I get to see that in the community. I think that the work that United Way does goes far beyond even just a dollar figure. It changes lives.
When I donate to United Way, I always do payroll deductions. I never notice the extra money that's coming out, and over time, it accumulates and makes a bigger contribution overall that I might not necessarily be able to do in a lump sum.
Your contributions to United Way work locally. You help ensure access to affordable, high-quality childcare, mental health services for adults and children, and access to affordable, sustainable housing. You can make your contribution too. United Way of Treasure Valley focuses on the most important health, education, and financial stability needs in the Treasure Valley. We work together with organizations throughout the area to help children go to preschool, families stay housed, and for all individuals to get access to the health care they need to stay healthy and thrive. But we can't do it alone. We need your help and your donations because it takes a community to succeed, working together to solve problems.
What I like the most about the United Way of Treasure Valley is how they help families with kids, and making sure that the kids have all of the basic needs, and making sure that parents are trained for job skills to enter the workforce. And it's so important that these basic needs are met, that they all become productive members of our community. And it's all of our dollars. It's your dollars, it's my dollars, it's the corporations that we work for, all of our dollars that we pull together that make the difference here for the Treasure Valley United Way.
With your support, United Way will continue to make opportunities happen so that local children and families can receive the services they need right now. Give to the United Way of Treasure Valley Community Fund today.
Wow, what a great recap.
Yeah, thank you, Paul.
Tim, I wanted to thank you for your time today and letting me help share a little bit about you as well as United Way organization as a whole. And thank you so much again for your efforts and your team's efforts to support this community.
Appreciate it, Paul. You know, being new to the community, building relationships, understanding the landscape, what's currently happening, and just engaging with other people that are wanting to put their passion for the community, you know, out there. This opens up opportunities for me, and I just really appreciate you having me. I'm excited about the future of our community, and I think that United Way can play a big role in helping us to grow gracefully with all the challenges that we'll have as we grow so fast.
Well, again, Tim, welcome to Boise. I'm sure your children will just love being raised here, and I look forward to our next conversation, Tim. Say hi to the team there from us.
Thank you, Paul.